91 goals in one calendar year. That's not a typo. That's not a video game. That's not some Sunday League stat padding. That's Lionel Messi in 2012 doing things that weren't supposed to be possible in modern football. But here's what nobody wants to talk about. Was this actually the greatest individual season any footballer has ever produced? Or are we all too blinded by the numbers to see the truth? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you might actually make you angry. Before actually seeing the madness that was Messi's 2012, let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw a record that made you question reality? Not just impressed you, not just made you go, wow, that's good, but actually made you stop and wonder if the sport was broken. Because that's what 91 goals feels like. It's a number so absurd that even now, over a decade later, it sounds fake. Gerd Muller's record of 85 goals in 1972 had stood for 40 years. 40 years! And Messi didn't just beat it, he obliterated it. 6 more goals. In an era where football is supposed to be more tactical, more defensive, more impossible for individual brilliance. But let me tell you why this isn't a celebration video. This is an investigation. Let's break down what 91 goals in a year actually means. That's a goal every 3.9 days. 69 of those goals came for Barcelona, 22 for Argentina. He scored in La Liga, in the Champions League, in the Copa del Rey, in World Cup qualifiers, in friendlies. It didn't matter who the opponent was. Athletic Bilbao, 5 goals in one match. Bayer Leverkusen, 5 goals. Real Madrid, hat-trick. Valencia, another hat-trick. Here's where it gets genuinely disturbing. Messi scored 5 hat-tricks that year. He scored 4 4-goal hauls. And then there were those 2 games where he scored 5. Do the math with me. That's 41 goals in just 11 matches. 41 goals in 11 games. The rest of the world was celebrating if they scored 41 goals in an entire season. But here's what really keeps me up at night. These weren't penalties. These weren't tap-ins from a yard out. These were goals where Messi would pick up the ball at the halfway line, glide past 3 defenders like they were traffic cones, and slot it bottom corner. Over and over and over again. His Champions League campaign that year? 14 goals. And in La Liga? 50 goals. In 37 games. The man was averaging 1.35 goals per game in La Liga. You know what most elite strikers average in their career? About 0.5. Messi was tripling that for an entire year. So here's where I'm going to upset some of you. After everything I just told you, after all those numbers that sound like they came from a cheat code, was this the greatest a footballer has ever looked? Notice I didn't ask if Messi is the greatest ever. That's a different debate for a different video. I'm asking specifically about this version of Messi. This unstoppable, unplayable, literally record-shattering version that existed in 2012. Was this the peak of what football can look like? And before you spam yes in the comments, let me challenge you. Because what made 2012 Messi so special wasn't just the goals. Anyone can stat pad if you really try. What made it special was how he scored them, when he scored them, and against whom he scored them. But does that automatically make it the greatest individual season ever? Does quantity always equal quality? Because if we're being honest, and I mean brutally honest, there are arguments to be made against this being the untouchable peak everyone pretends it is. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Messi played for arguably the greatest club team ever assembled. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Dani Alves. That Barcelona side would have dominated with or without Messi scoring 91 goals. They were a machine, a beautiful, unstoppable tiki-taka machine that made the best teams in the world look like amateurs. So when Messi was running at defenders, he had Xavi and Iniesta threading passes that surgeons would be jealous of.
Barcelona won La Liga that year. They won the Copa del Rey, but they didn't win the Champions League. Chelsea knocked them out in the semifinals. In a season where Messi scored 91 goals, Barcelona still fell short of the ultimate prize. Does that matter? Should it matter? Because if you're truly having the greatest individual season ever, shouldn't your team be winning everything? I can already hear the keyboards firing up in the comments. But stay with me. Now let me flip the script on you. Because for every argument against 2012 Messi being the peak, there are 10 moments that shut down all debate. The game against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. 5 goals. 5. In a Champions League knockout match, against a Champions League caliber side. He became the first player to score 5 in a Champions League game, ever. Or the match against Athletic Bilbao, another 5 goals, in the Copa del Rey. This wasn't stat padding. This was surgical destruction of a quality opponent. The hat trick against Real Madrid at the Camp Nou, in El Clasico, where every touch is magnified, every moment is pressure. He made Pepe look like a traffic cone. He made Sergio Ramos contemplate retirement. And it wasn't just the big games. It was the consistency that defied logic. He scored in December like it was September. He scored in March like it was October. There was no slump, no dip in form, no he's human after all moment. For 12 straight months, he was inevitable. Watch the highlights from that year. Actually, don't just watch them, study them. The goal against Getafe where he picks up the ball in his own half. The goal against Athletic where he chips the keeper from an impossible angle. The free kick against Deportivo that bends the laws of physics. This wasn't just a goal scorer. This was an artist who decided to paint a masterpiece every 3 days for an entire year. So after everything, after the 91 goals, after the records, after the moments of pure magic, was 2012 the greatest a footballer has ever looked? Here's my answer, and it's going to disappoint some of you and vindicate others. No, not definitively. Not without question. Not in a way that closes all debate. But also, how do you argue against it? How do you look at those numbers, at those performances, at the sheer consistency and dominance, and say with confidence that someone else was better? You can point to Maradona in 1986, dragging Argentina to a World Cup with performances that transcended the sport. You can talk about Ronaldo Nazario before his knees betrayed him. You can mention Pelé, Cruyff, Di Stefano. You can talk about prime Ronaldo from 2011 to 2014. You can even argue for other versions of Messi himself. The truth is, 2012 Messi exists in this weird space where the numbers are so absurd that they almost work against him. We become numb to excellence when it's that constant. 91 goals sounds like a glitch in the matrix, not a human achievement. Here's what I know for certain. In 2012, Lionel Messi played football at a level that made us question if we understood the sport at all. He scored goals that shouldn't be possible with a frequency that defied logic against opponents who were supposedly the best in the world. Was he the greatest a footballer has ever looked? That's for you to decide. And honestly, it's a question that has no wrong answer because the bar is so impossibly high that we're comparing gods. But what I can say without hesitation is this: 2012 Messi was one of the greats. Not just one of the great seasons, one of the great performances in the history of human athletics. One of those moments where sport transcends itself and becomes art. 91 goals in one calendar year, a record that still stands, a record that might stand forever, a record that sounds more like mythology than reality. Whether it's the greatest ever or just one of many peaks in football's history doesn't really matter. What matters is that we witnessed it. What matters is that in a sport that's over 150 years old, where billions have played and millions have competed at the highest level, one man in 1 year did something that made all of us stop and stare in disbelief. And maybe that's enough. There's another player from Argentina who might be the next Messi. That is Nico Paz. I broke down how good he is in this video.